Welcome back, Wichita. I'm here with Matt with Quality Granite and Interiors. We're going to discuss a couple things with his career and then dive into a little bit about his experiences with WABA as well. So tell us how you got started in this career.
You know, it's kind of a crazy story. I was a youth minister down in Derby and got involved with my now business partner, Joe Warren, and he was a volunteer, and we were getting ready to have our first kid, and Ava, this was about 10 years ago, and we had to figure out how we were going to make some more money. I don't know if you know this, but youth ministers aren't paid particularly well. I started talking to Joe about maybe making some design selections for some of his spec homes, because at the time he was still building, and did that for a while, and it went really well, and those homes sold, and he was appreciative. Referred me to a local home store, and so I went in a suit and tie with my resume, and they didn't want anything to do with me, right? I had no experience as far as they were concerned, no industry knowledge. And so every day for like 2 weeks, I went in my suit with my resume, and they finally heard me and sat down, interviewed, and gosh, it was crazy. It was a wild ride. So from there, worked at that home store for about 3 years, and then went to another basically wholesaler here in Wichita who had an incredible selection, a really great management team, and I learned so much about the industry. Then I got approached by, at the time, Quality Granite and Marble, and they were looking for some outside sales help, really kind of some rebranding and those things. Went to work for them, and I was there for 2.5 years before Joe and I decided to purchase the company. So here we are.
Yeah,
kind of crazy.
Absolutely. So what does your day-to-day at Quality Granite and Marble look like?
We are a small business. We've got about 20 employees, and every day is a little bit different. Part of that is for me as the VP, it's my responsibility to make sure that the day-to-day operations are going smooth, clients are happy, production's on time, sales are hitting. There's just a lot that goes into it, but every day is a little bit different. So, ideally, my day would be coming in and talking with my design team about, projects they're working on, clients they're working with. I could talk to my creative team about templates that are coming up, or if there's unique installs that I need to be made aware of, or, just something interesting and exciting that, lights my fire. From there, talk to the production staff, see how things are going out in the shop, make sure everybody's up and running and, ready to go. And then from there, it's out calling on builders, designers, visiting job sites. We do cabinet renderings. I make decisions on what kind of products we're going to show, those kinds of things. So it's exciting. It's never a dull moment, that's for sure.
Absolutely. And how long have you been in the industry?
So in the industry as a whole, I'd say I'm coming up on 10 years with, countertops. That's been the last 3 years. But as far as flooring, tile, cabinets, those kinds of things, carpet even, that was where I got started. Yeah. So.
And what changes have you seen in those last 10 years?
As far as like the quality of products coming out right now, when it comes to the durability, the beauty, the sustainability, not only are they eco-friendly, they're also beautiful and durable. So that's exciting for me to see, right? I've got 4 little girls, and I want to make sure that the world they grow up in is beautiful and sustainable. So it's nice to be able to see that kind of change. I'd say also, too, customers have changed a lot in the last 10 years, right? So, you have a younger buying pool that's kind of coming into their careers, and their wants and needs are so different from, I would say, the clients I was working with when I first got started. When I first got started 10 years ago, there were 2 options. Everybody was either making the inside of their home look like the Olive Garden, right? So this huge Tuscan-inspired thing. Or everybody was doing the Joanna Gaines white shaker cabinets, white countertops, white subway tile, and that was really it. And, with the rise of social media, specifically like what we're seeing on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, there's just this wide range of colors and textures and patterns. So it's exciting because for a while, everything was white.
Yeah. Absolutely. And how's WABA fit into that journey that you had?
Well, so WABA's pretty fantastic, right? So I will say at first, I think like a lot of people who are trying to figure out what's the value add here, is it worth my time? It was kind of, you got to show up, you've got to meet these people. It's just what you have to do if you want to be successful. That was kind of the mindset that I took to it. But once I really got involved and active, you realize you're not just building friendships, you're building business partners. Mm-hmm. And so as you build these relationships with different industry professionals who maybe have been through the same things that you're going through right now, whether you're a small business, a startup, an outside salesman, a project manager, it doesn't matter, because there's 50 people in this organization who have done your job, have done it well, and probably done it longer than you. I noticed that in flooring. Whenever I was in flooring, it was kind of like everybody worked in silos. Nobody was able to say, oh, I'm showing these projects or products, and this is what we're working on. What are you guys moving a lot of? Like, everybody kept their cards pretty close to their chest, right? When we got into countertops, especially after we purchased this company, I really wanted to change that, because this industry was the same, right? And what's nice about WABA is, some of my biggest competitors, if not all of them, are members of WABA. And, I have great relationships with them, right? So, and if you think about that open line of communication, it makes you more professional. It makes you more confident. It makes you more informed. And on top of that, like, you're building relationships with people who are going through the same struggles in the same town, which is exactly what those builders are doing, right? Mm-hmm. The truth is, at the end of the day, every builder that's in the Wichita Area Builders Association, they are competing with each other for a limited market, right? But the reality is, there is so much work to go around. There's such a shortage of professionals and such a shortage of contractors, designers, industry professionals, that you can make up that space, you can gain that ground, everyone can grow and everyone can be better. So, essentially, as you and your competitors, so to speak, but really your peers is probably the word you should look at, as you guys grow closer together, like, you go further in business together. And so that's been incredible.
Absolutely. And how would you say that the NextGen specifically, how have you seen the growth within not only yourself, but with the NextGen as a whole? Well,
NextGen's been invaluable. And the main reason for that, when I came into this, I was green. I knew very, very little about the industry, how to bid projects, how to interact with clients, how to, better serve every one of my clients. And just the ability to be surrounded by young professionals who are in the same journey that I'm on, who are trying to soak up the same information from these seasoned veterans, but also to be able to throw lifelines to each other and say, hey, what would you do here? I need help on this. Or, projects blow up real quick in that the scale gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It's kind of a if you give a mouse a cookie situation. So, well, let's put new countertops in. Well, maybe we also need backsplash. Well, what about lighting? Well, if I'm doing that, let's replace all my millwork. Well, if I'm doing that, I might as well get new windows, And you can't be everything for everyone, so you want to make sure that you've got a portfolio, or essentially a Rolodex of peers who you can call on, who are going to take care of you.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've had a journey that within a small 10-year span, you have gone from sales with one individual, sales at a couple different companies, to now ownership of a company. How would you, what advice would you give for somebody who's new in the industry?
The truth is, stay humble. And that's really hard. And I'll be the first to tell you, I'm not very good at it, right? You've got to be your biggest cheerleader, definitely. You have to have the confidence to know that you're speaking professionally, but at its core, the single most important piece of advice that I would give anyone getting into this industry is, how do you make sure that your customer knows that you really care, right? How can you really be authentic? I think that one of the things that sets me apart probably from other people in the trade in our industry is the ability to romanticize what we're doing, and not in a cheesy, ridiculous way, right? But the truth is, if you're a carpet salesman, you're not just selling carpet, right? This is where babies are going to take their first steps. This is, you're going to pick a patterned carpet for stairs where you're going to take prom photos, right? It's no different now where I'm at with countertops and kitchens and bathrooms and all those things, right? Mr. Homeowner comes in and he says, oh, give her whatever she wants. But the truth is, these couples, these homeowners, they need to be thinking that some of the most important conversations they're ever going to have in their entire life are going to happen in their kitchen at this island, right? Whether it's good news, bad news, exciting news, whatever it is. The fact that we're invited into their home, this most sacred space for many people, for most people probably one of the biggest investments they'll ever make, and that you're trusting me with that investment to make it beautiful, functional, valuable. That's an honor. And so stay humble through that, but also be authentic, be caring, and be vulnerable.
Absolutely. And through that process, you've talked a little bit about how WABA has made a huge role in that. How would you say that NextGen group, developing you from someone who worked at sales to now venturing into owning a business? How has that helped, and how have you seen that change within yourself?
I think really, just the people that you associate with, the professionals, through osmosis, right? You gain the confidence, the poise, the ability to be able to communicate effectively with people. If you're around a group of CEOs and business owners, you're going to start to think, how do I become a business owner and CEO? And that's not a new idea, right? There's an incredible amount of young professionals right now with a ridiculous amount of talent. And at NextGen, what's so fantastic is it's a perfect space for those people to be. And so when you surround yourself with that kind of talent, I think it rubs off on you. So, to answer your question, I think that by seeing professionals behave professionally and building those relationships and friendships, it's shown me, how I need to conduct myself moving forward. I think too, like another value add for WABA NextGen, right? So you've got this group of younger people who are getting ready to kind of take over as the older generation phases out, right? They get ready for retirement. There's going to be a bit of a gap. But at the same time, what's nice by establishing relationships with young professionals, the biggest wealth transfer in the history of the world is about to take place. As boomers retire, start to pass away, millennials are going to become the wealthiest generation, right? Millennials buy differently. They research products differently. They expect a different process. They expect different, their expectations in general are massively different than other buying groups. So what's nice about WABA is those peers, those friendships, those relationships that you've established, like those mirror what your clients are going to expect as well. What's nice is, we've got several people in the group who have incredible operations that are successful, profitable, and well respected. So to be able to ask them, what are you doing that I'm not doing? What's worked for you? What hasn't worked? Where would you suggest I invest my marketing dollars? What products do you think I should be showing to attract a different pool? And that information, that free exchange, it's invaluable because you learn how to serve your customer better. You learn how to offer a better product, a superior service. Really, to try and quantify the value add of NextGen is difficult because it's so pervasive in everything that I do. The Wichita Area Builders Association is such an asset, not just to trade professionals in Wichita, but to homeowners in Wichita. And the truth is, when you think about what they're doing, how they're trying to make sure that the market is fair, that it's equitable, even for conflict resolution, right? I'm lucky enough to say I haven't been called before that board, but I've worked with difficult clients before, and I know expectations can be too high, unreasonable, and there's nothing that you can do right. You get sideways, and it happens to everyone in this industry. But what's nice is with the Builders Association, you can go before essentially your peers and say, what do I do here? What would you do? What should I have done differently? How do I learn? And they're going to be fair, they're going to be honest, and they're going to give you a path forward. So, like I said, I'm lucky enough to never have had to get that far, but I know people who have, and they talk about that as this incredible asset to their understanding of the business, their understanding of conflict navigation and those things.
So one thing I was curious about is what brought you to WABA?
Honestly, when I made that transition from a local home store to a wholesaler, the person that I was replacing had held a seat on the Remodelers Council, and so that's initially what I went for. And again, that was a great group, a lot of fantastic contractors, and but you also meet other industry professionals too, like insurance agents, lenders. Really a full gambit, marketers. There was an incredible amount of people that I was exposed to instantly who I wouldn't have known otherwise. But actually, Wes Galen approached me about the NextGen organization and was kind of telling me what they were trying to do and how they're building confidence in a younger generation that can gain experience and knowledge from the old guard, essentially. And that was something that really interested me. So I think I was in NextGen for 1 year, maybe 2, and then they approached me to be a board member, and then the year after that I was the chair, and now I'm the post chair, and that's a good spot to be in.
Yeah, absolutely. So what would you say, how was that role when you were that chair?
I think it was an interesting year because it was when we purchased Quality, but on top of that, NextGen was really trying to figure out what it was that they could be doing to better serve its members. And so we tried several different things. We got some really great feedback from everyone involved. And as we step into 24, I would say 23 really built the framework and the foundation for where the group wants to go. And that's not because of me. That was because of a fantastic board that we had together. Just so many ideas and open to new and exciting experiences. And I think that moving forward into 24, it's going to be huge.
Well, Matt, thank you so much for sitting here with us. Your conversation was fantastic. It was very valuable for not only myself, but the people who are listening in. Thank you, Wichita, for being a part of this experience with us. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to myself or Tyler, WABA as well. But thank you so much, Wichita. Have a great evening.